Okay, good morning, afternoon. I was just online with my friends from Crime Lines and Lies and with Kat, and really enjoy their shows. I enjoy their company the most, and they are absolutely brilliant women, powerhouses, and especially Shannon and her daughter. I call them Tag Team Peaches. They're a force to be reckoned with, and that's what I love about the YouTube family is that, we will put up for you, we will love you, and we learn a lot about people. But this is about farm life. And the reason why I decided to turn it on right now is because Bonnie Blue was actually our first animal on the farm. And she's a GSD, which is, a German Shepherd dog. And I love her to death. She's a lot of energy. She's a very, very intelligent dog. And I have great respect for her, as all the animals on the farm. So I've learned to respect them and their state and their origin and their purpose for life. And it's pretty amazing. We do have turkeys, and we do have chickens, and we actually got like 3 different kinds of chickens and 2 different kinds of turkeys. So it's fun. But my son, who was known as Big T because he played football, and they did call him Trevor Train at first. And he does really he's a little boy still. He's in his 20s, but he is, of course, one of my pride and joys. He's my middle kid, and he taught me a lot. And the lot that he told me about is I am Big T. He does have that big, huge personality, and I love it. Sometimes I want to hit him. Oh, and for Christmas, I always asked. I really did. Okay, I'm laughing before you even know what the heck is going on. But with Big T, I always asked every Christmas, when asked, what do you want for Christmas? And I'd say, I want a laundry basket full of tennis balls. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, I used to play softball, and I'm a pretty good shot. I played outfield, shortstop, third base, and catcher. But anyway, he was just one of those children that when you called his name, you're calling it forever. He would get his mind so in tune with what he was doing that it was hard to break him from it. And I find this really funny that I'm going on a tangent with him, because in a minute he's going to start up his truck and I'm inside the house, and you're going to hear it, and then you're going to hear Bonnie respond. This is their relationship. He turns his truck on, he presses that gas pedal, and that cam opens up, and Bonnie responds. So it's it's neat. But he did. I took him. I apologize. Let me get my brain right. When he was about 4, I took him to a putt-putt place, and I was with friends, and they're like, yeah, go ahead, and because they're avid golfers, go ahead and bring, the little one with you, and, we'll make a morning of it. So I did, and he loved it. He loved it so much that out on the putt-putt, he was out running and grabbing everybody's golf balls. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to mess total strangers that were out there. Not just our group, but the strangers. And I'm like, he's just all over the place. Well, guess what? That is an ADHD child. It's like they do a perfect, computer scan of the surroundings. And it's like they got it locked in, and they're like, this is what I'm going to do. You don't know that because it's inside their head. Well, the whole time I'm going, Trevor, no, we can't do that. Trevor. And I'm like exhausted. Okay. He went to preschool. I can walk in the door, and that's all you hear. His teachers. Trevor. He was a kid that was extremely focused. And to this day, I'm thankful for that attribute that he has, because his brain is in thought. He can pick up on things, as in looking at things, which women are very well known for. But he has got such a sharp eye. It blows my mind. And I'm a very detail-oriented person when I'm looking at a project. And when he looks at a project, he sees a lot deeper than I do. And I find that fascinating. But what does he do? I'm not going to keep it a secret. He is he restores old cars. And when he does it, he has this hand-on effect to where he just slightly rubs his hand over the car, and he knows what kind of dent, what needs to be replaced just by feeling it. Is he blind? No. But he uses all of his senses just for this job, and I think it's awesome. He's doing some really high-profiled projects right now, and I just hope he has time for, his work, his job, and this side thing that he promised for this person. And I have no doubt in my mind that this kid, my baby, is going to come through, and it's really, cool. But I hear him way back in the field. Yeah, I can hear him coming. That was the thing, too, about all of our vehicles. It's like, yeah, once they leave the house, you can hear them for blocks. And I know which way they're going. I know where they're going. And maybe I did something wrong. I kind of spoiled them with when I call you home, you come home. And the way I did it was whistling. I would whistle and it would echo through the neighborhood. And they knew it was me. And they knew they better come home. My kids are good kids. They're not the best kids. And I love them to death. I really do. They're really my heart and soul. And I'm thankful because life is a gift. And as the other day when I was showing the quail that, I made a big mistake with. And, I'm pretty sure I made a lot of mistakes with my own children. And I apologize for those. And I always wanted an open relationship with my kids. And there was time that I dipped down real low. And when you go down and you think you are at the point of no return, but yet then there's God. So, if you've never prayed, if you've never called out to somebody that you can't see, give it a try. Give it a try. Because he might not answer you. You might not get this great revelation. You might not get anything right at that time because maybe God needs you to go just a little deeper. And at that depth, you truly understand you don't want to do this no more. You want to change. I'm sorry, I have to move around. I've been messing with the quills and I'm still a little sore, but I am really, really, really happy to be at the state that I am in right now. But pick yourself up and God will do the rest. But you have to be patient. Be patient with yourself. And if you try to hurry up and you follow guidelines or you follow somebody's rule to do this, that, and the other, that's in anything. If it's not for you, if it doesn't help, it's not going to be successful. Now, how I came out of my way down deep, I had a doctor that God sent me. I was yellow as a banana. I had jaundice from hell. And what I'm going to speak about is my shame. But I've always tried to share the bad things of my life, my bad choices. And I try to leave nothing in that closet. It needs to come out of the closet. And I was in the emergency room. I was half out of my mind. And this woman, I'm only 5'1". This woman was a little bit shorter than me. She sat down on a stool. And she scooted up to my bed. And she did the, hello, how are you? I'm Dr. So-and-so. And la, 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 la. And she looked at me and she said, "You have got to stop drinking. And this is why. Your jaundice, your bilirubin It's not good. She said, I am so afraid for you right now that you could have a heart attack at any moment. Your numbers are scaring the living shiitake mushrooms out of me. And all I could do was sit and cry. I mean, I cried about it today, thinking about it. If it wasn't for her, to be honest, if you do not stop drinking right now, you are going to die. She says, do you know what codeine is? Well, yeah, I knew what codeine was. And she didn't say any words, but she did the and it floored me. And it was never presented to me that way. That means you're on death's door. And they'll try to do everything. But if you have destroyed your organs so bad from overkill, there is nothing wrong with a drink. There is nothing wrong social drinking. But I was doing more than just that. It was my life. It was my functioning system. And it caught up with me. I was not reproducing blood. I was anemic. I mean, so bad. And you can come back from it. And I was at the point of, I didn't care. I was at that point. I didn't care. I didn't care. My husband handed me alcohol every day. Every day. And he said, maybe when you finish your last on this one, maybe you'll stop. But until then, me and the kids will be out here. He left me to the room by myself. I couldn't get out of the bed because I had the hip surgery. I had no idea what was going on with me. And I'm pretty sure my husband feels guilty about what he did as well. But all I could do was sit there and bawl. And then it went to, I had to go to a, what is it called? Give me a moment and I'll think of it. It was pain management, sorry. And I sat down with her for about 5 minutes after filling out the paperwork. And she said, I want you to go to a hospital. And I want you to get an x-ray of the leg that they did surgery on. And I do not want you to go to your doctor. I do not want you to go to a patient first, like one of these emergencies, whatever. I want you to go to a bona fide hospital and get your x-rays done. New ones, not old ones. Right now, what's going on with your hip. And then after that, we will talk. And I said, okay. So when I came out of the office, paid my fines or whatever, for visiting her, I looked at my husband and I said, I have to go to Princess Anne Hospital right now. And I have to get an x-ray. I wasn't going to wait. If a doctor's telling me I need to go get an x-ray, I'm going to go get one. So I did. Went in there and I was in pain. I was in pain. It's unbelievable pain when you go from walking really, really, really fast and then all of a sudden your life is at a standstill. It does something to your psyche up here. It changes you. I spoke about misbirths it changes you up here a little bit, but it's how much you allow it to. Went in there, put my little shorts on that they give you, took a picture. Then I put my other clothes back on, got back in the wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair. They rolled me out the door. There was a nurse standing right there. And she said, we're admitting you. And I'm like, why? She's like, your body is running rampant with infection. And your new hip is jacked up. I can walk on it. Very, very little. And that's what I'm talking about when you're like, yes, I can have this surgery. I can be able to do things again. No, that didn't happen for me. No. I really banked on that surgery, and I needed it because there was nothing there. And then I sat in pain for 7 months. And I don't know how I did it, really. I'm like, you feel worthless. What else am I going to do the rest of my life? I'm really trying to hold this together because this is hard too. And they took it out. They put a spacer in. And then for the next 48 days, I had a PICC line because the infection was so bad. After they took that PICC line out, it's forever. It feels like forever. You have a nurse coming in and out of your house, and because everything's got to be clean. And when they put that PICC line in, they have to turn your bedroom, not your bedroom, but your room at the hospital, it has to be turned into an operating room because they can't move you around because of your infection. You are so vulnerable to everything in the air. It's almost like the COVID thing, okay? You can really, really get messed up. So, yeah. They put that PICC line in me. It's no problem. Hooked me up. Started my treatment. Went home. And the spacer that they put in, it also had medicine in it as well. And so they were doubling up. And plus I was taking oral stuff. I mean, it was the most embarrassing time of my life. I'm sorry. Got a bad angle. Sorry. I was actually, I lost my bowel function. And that was because of the medication. And it's embarrassing, but at least it happened in my house. And my family was very gracious to take care of me when I'm always taking care of them. And at one time, I did want to be a nurse, but my health just went so south. So, it comes around to where it is time that I need to get a new hip because that spacer is not going to last long. Now, I popped that spacer out. I had to have it replaced. And that's no joke. If you've ever had a hip replacement, you will know if you pop it out, it will go straight to the back of your bum. It is the worst. Not the worst, but the most weirdest, strangest feeling. And you're like, I think my thigh is trying to jump out my butt. I'm not kidding. And we had to call the EMTs. Now, when you're in a soft bed, you're like, okay, she's got a jacked up leg. It's disconnected. What? How do we get her out of this bed? Oh my God. They learned something and I learned something. The best thing to do is just get a very large sheet and pull it tight. One person at one end, one person at the other end, and just push it underneath that person. And it's not going to feel good, but hey, it's the least invasive. It's not going to adjust your leg. So they pulled it all the way through, and you're like in a baby button or whatever, or the old-fashioned kind of gurneys. And then they put me on their gurney. And then they took me all the way down my stairs. And I was on my way to get it popped back in. Every time you pop that, you are making the infection higher and more vulnerable. So I remember being in the emergency twice for popping them out. I popped the spacer out, and then when it was time for me to have another fitting for my hip, I'm stopping and pondering that I don't know how this is going to go, because the first one, the doctor had a problem fitting it in. They said, this woman that is 44 years old has the size of adolescent bones. So they had to put a little kitty one in me. And then again, on the second one, they put a child size hip in me. It's the only thing that would fit. So the whole thing about it is, through that time, I was drinking like a mug. Because in the beginning, the Vicodin that I was taking, wasn't touching it. The infection was that bad. I couldn't even relieve the pain. So the second doctor, and that's what really sucked. I didn't say anything about this, but the first doctor retired right after my surgery. I was hot. I was pissed. And then this gentleman became an angel when he put it in right. And I was like, when they cut me on the side, can you fix that? It's just, it looked horrible. Okay, it looked like it was botched. It was horrible. And he's like, yeah, I'll fix that up for you too. And when I came out and I saw his work, I was like, oh, how nice. God, this is so much better. And slowly but surely, I did my exercises. I did overkill on my exercises because I wanted to get up. You have to rebuild all that muscle again. And that was a big setback, and that was part of a big part. It was a big part of my drinking. And the bad thing about it, when we were in Brooks's chat for members only, I let him know. I know what happens when you mix alcohol and Xanax together. It's not pretty. It was like truth serum to me. I told everybody about themselves. And I had a lot of apologizing to do. Never apologized to myself. I've always felt that the apologies has to go to them. And Xanax and liquor, any doctor will tell you, don't. It is something that is very hard to come out of. But like I said, I had a doctor that scooted up to my face, met me where I was, and told it to me straight. I've never had that before. And if she's a floater. I mean, she goes from one hospital to another. And if I ever see her, I'm going to give her the biggest thanks. And I think a lot of doctors need to take a lesson from that, because not a lot of doctors will say, you know, this was on your tox report. There ain't no getting out of this at all. And so I'm going to lay it to you straight. I wish it was with even people who have just started drinking and mixing drugs. It's not pretty. But if you have that problem, I can understand the shame. I can understand the hurt. I can understand the pain in your heart. And that's what happened, was after everything and I could think clearly, I kind of brought that, I'm going to put the hammer down on the nail right here. I'm like, you know what? I said, you guys turned away from me when I needed you most, and I didn't know that I needed you most because I was in pain. I said I was in pain, and I just wanted it to stop. And so I found out that I am not a good pharmacist, and I will not dabble in that crap again. So I don't know. If you have any comments, I would love to hear any that you have. You are more than welcome to email me at mlerickson1970@gmail.com. I believe that this situation is bigger than we really understand. It is. You think, oh, he's just a happy drunk. My dad was a happy drunk and he died at the age of 40. And I miss him. I'm sure you've had people in your family the same way, but 40 is too young. Too young. And I'm sure that your family members were younger than that. There's kids of Dan and whatnot. I really wanted to tell this story because I knew it would take a while. But I was also expecting Big T to start up his truck so you could hear it. And then, listen.